to a special Thursday night episode of Frankly Speaking Sports, coming to you live on our Crew Live platform. And welcome to NFL 2020. This is our preview. We are going to preview Game 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints. We are going to go ahead and we're going to preview the entire NFL week. Every single game, we're going to give you our picks for this upcoming week. We're also going to give you our predictions on the NFL division winners and which teams are going to make it to the Super Bowl as well. So just a great show. Doesn't matter where you're a football fan, what group you belong to, you are in for one heck of a tremendous show. I want to thank you all so very much for joining us on all the different platforms that you are currently on, whether it's Crew Live, Frankly Speaking Sports, whatever website you're on. I want to go ahead and thank you so very much. If you can please do me a favor, and if you can please start sharing this as we are going live now. I see more and more people coming on. Please go ahead, take a second, share this to your timeline. You know, what a great show we have for you. I'm going to start doing this on Thursday nights from now on. We are going to interact with the team that we are going to go up against on Sunday. This week being the New Orleans Saints. So we're going to have the lead reporter from the New Orleans Saints. Reporter will be joining us in about 15 minutes, John Hendrix. So he will be joining us as we have a lot of information to go over with you. And I'm reading some updates here. Want to let you know the NFL season has officially begun. The Houston Texans are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And at the end of the first quarter, the Texans are leading 7-0. We'll keep you updated as that show goes on. So we will try to do that. But, you know, I want to get into this because, you know, a very big week coming up. I mean, what an unbelievable game to start out the NFL season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when you go ahead and you look at the schedule, what a game this Sunday. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously, they were 7-9 last year, open up against the Saints, the New Orleans Saints, who were 13-3 last year. So just an unbelievable game coming up this weekend on 4/25 on Sunday. And, you know, what a game it's going to be. You got the two best teams in the NFL, in the NFC, obviously, definitely the two best in the NFC South. They'll be battling it out all year with possibly the two best quarterbacks to ever play the game of football in the National Football League. You know, it's Brady versus Breeze, all the statistics, all the glory, all the years. I think they have 85 years, 80-something years combined playing in the National Football League when you put their tenure together. And, you know, it's going to be an unbelievable game. But, you know, there's a lot more to this game than just Brady versus Breeze. And I know everybody's building it up to Brady versus Breeze, and with good reason. Tom Brady's first game. But, you know, this game, I'm going to break it down for you in the next 15 minutes. Then we're going to get the lead reporter from the Saints on, who's going to tell us about the Saints a little bit and go ahead and get us excited about the game as well. Want to remind everybody that is on, I see lots and lots of people coming on. You can do me a quick favor. We have an unbelievable show for you if you're just joining us. We're going to go ahead and do every single Game 1 pick with the points and who, on Frankly Speaking Sports, we think are going to win it. We're going to keep tally of our record throughout the year. So if you're a football fan and you like picking with the points and you want to see who we're going to pick to win, it's going to be a great show. We'll have that after the interview. We're going to pick each division winner and also the two teams that we think will be playing in Tampa in the Super Bowl. So a great show lined up for you. John Hendrix, the lead writer, will be joining us in about 15 minutes. But let's talk about this game Sunday. I mean, unbelievable game Sunday with the Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. Brady versus Breeze. But I think the one thing here is I want to see how Bruce Arians is going to use this two tight end set on offense with both having O.J. Howard and Rob Gronkowski in it. And, you know, for those of you who watched our record hit show with Michael Clayton last Wednesday, we talked about this. And I told Michael, I think O.J. Howard is going to have an unbelievable year this year when it comes to breaking his own individual records. And I think that although Rob Gronkowski is going to be a big playmaker on this team, you're going to also see him in there a lot, decoying so other people around him can get success as well. So we're going to see how that's going to use. Now, a lot of questions around will Mike Evans or will Mike Evans not play this Sunday. The latest we're hearing, of course, Bruce Arians, the new way to describe it, is a soft tissue injury. Okay, there's nothing soft about an injury to a tissue. But I will tell you, it is a hamstring. It seems like he tweaked it. We'll have to see. He has been doing some drills on the field, but not with the team. So it's going to be a game time decision, and that's what Bruce Arians is going to do. He's going to wait till the last minute to let everybody know what's going on. But let's just say that he isn't in that game. You're going to see a lot from Scotty Miller and Justin Watson. Justin Watson, third-year player, Scotty Miller, second-year player. And what you're going to do is you're going to see these guys emerge. Scotty Miller is building one heck of a relationship with Tom Brady, and they're gelling really, really well. So I'm really, really interested on Sunday to see, you know, obviously how many touches Scotty Miller or Justin Watson has is going to be affected by how much Evans plays or does not play. But I heard Justin Watson is just looking unbelievable in the camp. Now, remember, there's no preseason games, so you're going by camp. But what great news for the Buccaneers. I think the big thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come this game on Sunday is going to be how to distribute the ball to the number of running backs they have. He has made it very, very clear Ronald Jones is the starting running back on this team. And Ronald Jones is going to get his opportunity to prove why he deserves to be number one. And I'm rooting for the kid. I really, really want him to do well. I really, really like him. But I don't see, if he is not being productive early on in this game, do not be surprised if you see more touches from Leonard Fournette. You know, nothing against Ronald Jones. I am a big fan of Ronald Jones, but the best running back on this team, when everybody is 100% knowing the playbook and at full strength, is definitely Leonard Fournette. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone. The big thing is going to be, how does Ronald Jones catch the ball out of the backfield? Because you don't want them to know that every time Ronald Jones is in the game that they're going to run the ball, because he doesn't have that great ability to catch the ball. So, which is something that Leonard Fournette and LaShawn McCoy have already possessed during their careers in the NFL. So, you know, I'm rooting for Ronald Jones, but it's going to be interesting to see how many touches Leonard Fournette get. And Leonard Fournette is out to prove something. He is out to prove to everyone that it was not him, that he was a victim of being on a bad team with not a lot of great players. And, you know, if you look at the team, what has he had since he's been there? He's had Blake Bortles as a quarterback. He's had Nick Foles as a quarterback, Minshew as a quarterback. So he really hasn't had a very, very good quarterback playing with him since he's been in the NFL. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. Want to once again thank everybody for joining us on this very special NFL Week 1 preview. We'll obviously, being Buccaneer fans, are going to drill down on the Buccaneer game. Then we're going to interview, John Hendrix, the lead staff writer and reporter for the New Orleans Saints. Then we're going to do our picks for week 1, and then we're going to pick our division winners already, so you'll know who everybody is picking. I'm so excited, and I agree with all the fans out there for this upcoming season. Love to get you to interact. Love to get comments about what your feeling is about this, Sunday's game. We talked about, special teams. How big is special teams going to be? Well, it's going to be very interesting to see special teams because we don't have Matt Gay anymore. We decided on Ryan Suckup. And, I've had the ability to watch Ryan Suckup play a lot of football, him being a member of the Tennessee Titans. And he hits around 82% of his field goals. Struggled a little bit last year, but with kicker, unless your name Adam Vinatieri, does not struggle. And, so it's very interesting to see how this game comes down and what happens. Another big storyline about this Sunday, everybody talks about Breeze and everybody talks about, Brady. But, in the event, and we don't hope this on anyone, we never do this, but should, Drew Brees have to come out of that game for any reason, it will be Jameis Winston that is the backup quarterback. He is the backup quarterback. And how ironic would that be to see Winston have to come into this game at some time and take over for Drew Brees if something should happen? So, there's a lot of potential storyline. The big story that I see that we're going to have to cover, and, when I look at this team and I look at Michael Thomas, I look at Alvin Kamara, you look at Emmanuel Sanders, and you look at some of these threats that the New Orleans Saints have on offense, I'm still worried about Taysom Hill. I mean, this Taysom Hill, you don't know where he's going to line up. He can line up as a running back. He can line up as a quarterback. He can line up as a receiver. I mean, you just don't know how to handle this guy. They got a bunch of trick plays they do with this kid, and he's an unbelievable football talent. And we'll have to see how he affects the game, but they're going to have to stop him as well. I'm not worried about them stopping Kamara. We have one of and had last year, and I know that's last year, but we showed that we could play defense against the rush. All key things, and I'm going to lay out 3 key factors that I think in the game in the moment. But I do want to let you know that last year, both games were won by the New Orleans Saints. Last year is last year. They won the first game in New Orleans 31-24, and then I believe they beat us 34-17. It wasn't really that close to Tampa. I think we got a late touchdown late in that game to get our 17th point. But remember, the Saints on defense, they got a lot of young guys, not a lot of big names on the Saints defense, and we'll talk to John about that. But they also have some injuries in their lead safety, Von Bell, and their cornerback, Eli Apple, are both out for Sunday's game. So that's going to give Brady a lot more, to work with out there. And we should be able, and I use the word should, be able to be effective versus them. A lot of people ask offensive line, and I'm drilling down. I'm going at it with you guys right now. But the offensive line will be fine. I said this last night on Frankly Speaking Bucs, and I'll say it again. Stop worrying about the offensive line. The one thing you got to remember about this offensive line is that they have a quarterback now who throws or gets rid of the ball a lot quicker than their previous quarterback. Now, that's not a knock on the previous quarterback. That's just a fact that he gets rid of the ball a second quicker. And when you're a lineman, that's a lot. You still have to block. You still have to do what you have to do. But at least you don't have to do it for as long as a period of time. So, when you got the Ali Muppet and the Ryan Jensen on the interior line, Tristan Wirfs is going to be a beast. There is no doubt about that. And then, of course, you got Donovan Smith. If he can just eliminate some of his silly penalties. I think he had 9 penalties last year. we will be fine. Remember, a lot of people say, oh no, we don't have no depth in that area. Yes, you do. You still have the veteran Joe Haig. You still have, what is it? AQ Shipley, I believe the name is. So you got a couple of linemen that are still back there that have played in the National Football League should something go wrong. The one thing this Tampa Bay team, offensively and defensively, they are not lacking depth. Believe me, we're about 4 minutes away from getting John on the phone. Let's break down what my 3 keys of this game is going to be. The key matchups or the key. My first one is Shaq Barrett versus the Saints tackle. Let me go ahead and get it right here for you. All righty. And get that, what is he doing up there? All right, I'm backing up here, guys. All right, there we go. So, I mean, the first big piece is going to obviously be, and I'm trying to get to some of these things there, so I do apologize here for you a minute. All right. Obviously the big battle on this Sunday is no doubt is going to be between the 2 legends. It's going to be between Tom Brady and it's going to be with Drew Brees. Both of these guys have unbelievable careers, and everybody is breaking this game down between the 2 quarterbacks. Is it going to be Tom Brady? Is it going to be, Drew Brees? Who's going to throw for more touchdowns? Who's going to throw for more yardage? Very, very, very good question. And, there's a lot more involved in this game right now, I will tell you, than Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Why everybody looks at this, first of all, the first key matchup that I will talk about in this game is without a doubt, it's going to be between Shaq Barrett and Ryan Ramczyk. This is going to be a battle. You got a guy who has 19.5 sacks last year, and he's going to have to be stopped. He's going to put a lot of pressure and a lot of stunts with Pierre Paul on Drew Brees, and the big question is going to be, how well can he perform? Last year, the Saints only allowed the Bucs to get 1 sack last year, just 1 sack. So from a offensive line performance, Ramczyk and the rest of this team in 2 games allowing 1 sack, have done a good job. Now this Ramczyk guy is 6'6", 315 pounds. He's like the size of Tristan Wirth. So it's going to be very, very interesting, and I think that's going to be one of the battles you want to watch come Sunday during this game. As I go ahead and update it, the next one's going to be obviously my good little buddy here. Can I get him on? Yeah, it's going to be Sean Murphy Bunting. There he is, going up against Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders is a beast as well, and Emmanuel Sanders is a real good player. Bunting led this team last year with 3 interceptions, and they're going to need that kind of defense against Emmanuel Sanders. Now, everybody talks about Michael Thomas, but when you start keying on Michael Thomas, that's going to leave open the next guy in line, and that's going to be Emmanuel Sanders. So another key matchup after the Barrett-Ramczyk one on that line is going to be with Bunting. It's going to be with cornerback, Sean Murphy Bunting, and how well he can defend Emmanuel Sanders out there. And obviously that's gonna be a lot of the key right there. And then a little bit earlier in the show, I did mention before we get John on the phone here, I want to make sure that I say it one more time here. let me go ahead and remove this, is going to be this young man, Taysom Hill. I mean, this guy, like I said, he can set up from anywhere. He can set up from the wide receiver spot, the running back position, the quarterback position. So it's going to be lots and lots of ways that Todd Bowles, our defensive coordinator, is going to definitely have to come up with different ideas in order to stop them trying to do some trick plays with us. So we are minutes away from having John on the phone. But I want to remind you, after the interview with John Hendrix, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have our picks. Every single game pick we're going to have on after this interview. So if you're a sports fan, you want to know what the picks are. We're going to tell you what we're picking, what I'm picking with the points. So we will be using point spreads and tell you what I think, as well as picking each division winner. So each division will have their champion. I will predict, and I will tell you the two teams I think will play in Tampa in the Super Bowl. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get John on the phone with us. John is a lead staff writer for the Saints, a lead reporter. So we'll get him on and get his perspective on the New Orleans Saints. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor, thrill, and pleasure to introduce to you on the Frankly Speaking Sports Crew Life Hotline out of Tampa, Florida, and he's speaking to us in New Orleans. Let's talk to the Saints lead writer and reporter, John Hendrix. John, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
John, you know what? It's football season. I have to be doing good. We got Thursday night football on, but can you believe that football is finally here?
If you asked me a few months ago if we can get to this point, I was optimistic in March and April and even somewhat in May, and then things didn't seem to get any better. And, they suspended training camp, OTAs, and preseason games. And so for a while there, I thought, man, I don't know if we'll ever get to this point. But, hey, look, they did what they should have done and isolated things, put people into bubbles or whatever you want to call it, adhered to some strict rules on testing. And look, we've got football on TV right now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, we do. And that game is tied up 7-7 in the second quarter. Let me ask you this. What a way to start for both the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. You have obviously the two best teams in the NFC South, arguably the two best teams in the NFC, arguably the two best quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. I mean, how exciting is this game?
Yeah, it's just a shame that you're not going to have fans in attendance. I think that's the only drawback here. But, look, I think obviously they're going to get a top billing from Fox as their game of the week. I mean, it's virtually on everywhere unless you're a 49ers or Cardinals fan. That's the only other alternative on that day. So hopefully some people have some Sunday ticket or something like that that's going to allow you to watch this game. But look, it doesn't get any bigger than this, honestly. I mean, it's Brady versus Breeze, two of the best quarterbacks who've ever played this game. Tampa Bay is in a new look, new direction, right? They bolstered their roster a lot this season. It wasn't just Brady. You got Gronk in there, LaShawn McCoy. You pick up Fournette late. You have a good draft. And so, look, I think there's a lot of promise for this Bucs team. And the Saints, obviously, they don't need much introduction. They're three-time repeating NFC South champions, and they've got a lot of pressure on them for this season. So, look, what a way to start week one with a great matchup like this. And, thankfully we get this twice a year. So we'll have that matchup later on Sunday Night Football when those two play again.
Now, you mentioned no fans in the stands. And this is just an opinion, John. And I know the Superdome can get real loud over there. But this is more, I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's more of an advantage for the Buccaneers than it is a disadvantage for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Saints, they said that they like to feed off. Obviously, they like to feed off the crowd. I mean, what team doesn't, right? But, the the crowd noise the Superdome brings. Nobody's ever been there. If you have been there, you understand how electrifying it gets, how loud it gets, how just like that it makes offenses have to burn timeouts because they can't get stuff called right, false start penalties, all this good stuff. So look, it's going to look weird. Just being that you see this game tonight against the Chiefs and Texans, you see some fans in there, but with the Saints game, there's going to be nobody there. So it's really going to look weird. Obviously, it's going to be more of an advantage for the Bucs because Brady's going to be able to call what he wants at the line and have little to no resistance on stuff like that. So, I mean, it'd be good for him and good for the Bucs for sure.
Yeah, now, let me ask obviously a weird off season, no OTAs, no mini camps. They just had this summer camp, no preseason game, but a lot still happened. Obviously, COVID-19 was the big thing. Then all the injustice that was going on, of course, across the country and things like that. But the one thing that did happen that, affected the Saints, is there any concern about right now the chemistry among the players? Because, you and I both know, and we're not going to go into a topic over this, John. That what's done is now done with that. But did they hash things out as far as understanding each other? And are they back, being a team concept instead of guys pulling apart?
Yeah, water under the bridge. I mean, it's all in the past, and they've done a great job of making sure that they've told all of us, the media, saying that that's all behind them, and they did everything privately behind closed doors. And look, I think that's the way it kind of should be. You don't have to know everything that went into it, and I think there was a lot of misunderstanding, and obviously the timing on the whole thing was pretty bad too. But look, at the end of it all, the teammates are behind Drew. They've always been behind him. And he's going to have their back, so it'll be interesting to see what they do on Sunday going forward to continue to have that type of camaraderie. I mean, guys like Malcolm Jenkins, Mario Davis, very active with the social justice and such. And I think that's something that to pay attention to see what happens, because I think the biggest thing is actions speak louder than words. That's really what we're kind of getting to.
Right. Now, talk about some of the things this upcoming Sunday. The Saints and the reporters know the Buccaneers. Well, maybe not this year's Buccaneer with all the changes, but they play each other, like you say, twice a year, every year. I mean, what are some of the things that the New Orleans Saints need to execute during week one in order to be competitive in this game?
Well, look, I think first and foremost, how they're going to handle the Bucs front seven. And, you saw what happened to them last year against the Vikings in the playoff game. I mean, it was something crazy how much they blew up that interior. And the Saints have got some upgrades. Andres Pete, he's lost a lot of weight. Their rookie right guard, Cesar Ruiz, looks good. I mean, right now he's dealing with an ankle injury, so we're not sure if he's going to play on Sunday, but they do have Nick Easton. So that's the big thing, is how they're going to handle the pressure. They have offensive weaponry to move the ball. They have Drew Brees, who looks great. He's looked great. His arm strength looks amazing. And look, I think it's going to be surprising to a lot of people who thought that they could just write him off and such. So biggest thing is, hey, first of all, let's move the ball. Let's see what we can do there. Second of all is defensively, when are you going to come out and how are you going to stop Tom Brady? Because you can try to contain him. You can try to do a lot of things to slow him down, but it's hard to just stop a guy like that. So look, there'll be some new additions there. You got Malcolm Jenkins that's back there at safety who replaced Ron Bell. So that'll be something to pay attention to. Marcus Davenport is dealing with an elbow injury, so we're not sure if he's going to play on Sunday. So that'd be a big loss for the pass rush. And so, can you get after Brady? Can you affect him enough defensively? And then the third area that I look at is just to limit the mental mistakes in the ugly football, because, I mean, obviously you didn't have preseason. You've only been playing against yourself. I fully expect there to be some sloppiness on both sides. And so I think that's something else that, whoever doesn't make the the more makes less mistakes on Sunday should be the ones that come out and win this game.
And everybody's talking Brady and Breeze and rightfully so. I mean, like you said, the two best quarterbacks probably that ever played the game. But both sides of the football, I mean, the Saints offense and the Bucs offense have so many more weapons than just at the quarterback position. I mean, when you look at the Saints, I mean, of course, how can you forget Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas? But the guy, and tell me if I'm right, because you know they're going to be teaming up on Michael Thomas this weekend. But the one guy that I just cringe at, that worries me just a little bit this Sunday, could be Emmanuel Sanders. How's he doing?
Yeah, look, I think he's done great. Drew Brees flew out to Colorado in June to go kind of have some one-on-one time with him. And so, I mean, I think the chemistry will be there. He's one of the weapons. He finally gives the Saints a legitimate number 2 wide receiver. So the other part of it, I think, is Jared Cook. I mean, he really heated up last year down the stretch for him, and I think he's in for a big season personally. But Sanders is a guy, I mean, I think when they said it the other week, I don't remember who said, but they're projecting he catches over 50 balls. I think that's on the low side. I think no matter what, they can still lean on Mike Thomas. They can still do a lot of things with him. And he's up for the challenge. But Sanders, I think, is in for a killer year. And, the Saints coaches, they want to use and see him more like when he was with Pittsburgh in his early years in Denver, not like when he was with at San Francisco and the back half of Denver and stuff. So I think he's got a huge day ahead of him and a huge season in front of him.
Now, that Saints defense, I mean, they're real young. I mean, yes, like you said, they have some injuries, but I don't care what type of defense you have. When you start listing names like Fournette, Ronald Jones, Shady McCoy in the backfield, then if Evans is playing, he is day-to-day. Evans, you got Godwin. Then let's not forget, you got the 3 unbelievable tight ends in Gronkowski and Brait and O.J. Howard. I mean, what does that defense have to do? I mean, as a coach and as a defensive coach on that team, what do you tell this defense?
Well, look, I mean, obviously, I think they're pretty underrated. I know, if Mike Evans is not in the game, that's a huge loss for the Saints.
Right.
For the Bucs. And again, you want to see him play, but he would draw against Marshall Lattimore. So, again, they'll still be able to move the ball. And I think, you mentioned that O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate are very talented. The Saints know a lot about them, facing them. And so you got Janoris Jenkins, a true number 2 corner on the opposite side of Lattimore. You've got Malcolm Jenkins that's upgraded the secondary, and Marcus Williams, who kind of give the Bucs some fits last year in that road game and such. So, I think the biggest thing here is make sure you stick with your assignments and, lean on some of these veterans to point out some coverages and be able to do some things. And again, just try to play football as best as you can, because I don't expect 1 week or this first week of football to judge anything. So it's not going to tell anything about the season and how it's going to go, just because we haven't had the preseason. And with this, the Saints win, it's business as usual. The Bucs win. I know the media is buying into a lot of the hype, but I still think it's business as usual, and it'll be something to just pay attention to.
Yeah, now, let me ask you this. Your backup quarterback is obviously someone the Tampa Bay fans know very, very well in Jameis Winston. Now, Winston, owns so many of the records here in Tampa when it comes to being at the quarterback position. I mean, what are they seeing with Jameis Winston, and do they feel like in the event like last year, Drew Brees, for some unforeseen reason, should go down, are they confident in Jameis taking over?
Yeah, I mean, their unofficial depth chart has Taysom Hill listed as their number 2, and Winston obviously came in on a very small, lucrative deal to play for the Saints, and he's done great. Look, I mean, he obviously had the LASIK procedure done, which has helped him out so much, and he's also thinned down a good bit, and he kind of having more of a vegan-based, plant-based diet. So I mean, he looks great. He had an off and on camp. He wasn't perfect. He was good at times. You see the zip. You see why the Saints would be interested in him. You can see him light up just how happy he is. I mean, not that he wasn't happy in Tampa. He did a whole bunch of different things for him. Like you said, tons of records that were set. But look, if the Saints need Jameis Winston, he's going to be there for him. And I think he has tools to help. To get to another starting role, and whether it's with the Saints in the future or with another team. I think he's betting on himself, and that I think he's going to come out on top after it because he's learning so much from that quarterback room.
And how special is this kid, Taysom Hill? I mean, we see him everywhere. He lines up as a receiver. He lines up as a running back. He lines up as a quarterback. The next thing we know, we'll see him on defense probably. I mean, how special is this kid?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, he's real special, even though everybody was just talking he's just some type of gadget player or fad. But teams have tried to emulate it, and they can't do it, right? And so Taysom Hill just does a lot of different things. He can play kick coverage, he can play punt coverage, he can play kick returns, he can play joker tight end, he can play in the backfield, he can throw balls. I mean, he can do just about anything. He can block too. I mean, it's just crazy how this guy just loves to play football. I mean, that's just the biggest thing. And obviously, he signed a bigger contract this offseason, and I don't expect him to play a billion different roles. I think he's going to be there and play some in the offense. But look, if they find something, and he's the type of guy that they'll know pretty quickly that hey, if he wants to get involved or if there's a way they can use him, they'll get the ball in his hand, they'll make it work. But he's an exciting player to watch, and look, I think the world of him. I think Saints think the world of him, and he's definitely got something special to him that you just can't help but love.
We're talking to John Hendrix, Saints lead writer and reporter for the New Orleans Saints. John, before I let you run here, let me ask you this. What are your expectations from this Sunday, and how do you think the game will end up?
Well, I mean, first of all, like I said, I think it's going to be sloppy. First of all, I don't expect it to be some crazy blowout like a couple of years ago when Fitzpatrick came in and set the world on fire. But look, I expect this to be a hard-fought game, somewhat in the trenches, and I think the first team to get to 30 is going to be the ones who win this game. And that being said, look, I think with the Saints, they're obviously the favorites here. I'm thinking they can be the ones that win this game, and I think it'll be tight to begin with. And something comes down to the last quarter. Obviously, I'm picking them 30-23, just because I just know that they have such a talented coaching staff. They can make the adjustments. Their roster turnover has been basically none. I mean, they've had one of the best top to bottom rosters in the league. So, look, that being said, it could go either way. I feel like I think Brady's got a lot of magic left in him, and I think we're going to see a lot of it too. And all those weapons that the Tampa Bay Bucs have, and so it wouldn't surprise me to see it go the other way. But as of right now, I can't pick against the Saints just because of what they've been able to accomplish and the familiar cast they're bringing back this year.
Well, listen, John, I know you got a busy weekend ahead of you. I want to thank you so very, very much for coming on Frankly Speaking Sports tonight, and hopefully maybe before that Sunday night game, we can do it again.
Definitely. Appreciate all your help.
All right, you be safe now.
Thanks, you too.
All right, that was John Hendrix, lead staff writer and reporter for the New Orleans Saints. So just a great, great interview. And you got to hear his perspective on that team, about that young defense, about some of their weapons, about their backup quarterback situation. He feels they can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, he has that right to believe that as well. And we are just very, very happy to have him on the show tonight. I told you folks before we had that interview, we're going to go ahead and we are going to pick every single game this week with the points. Now, I'm going to give you the point spreads that were the latest point spreads at the time, because obviously these picks were done by yesterday because of the Thursday night game. And for those of you that want to know, it is now 14-7. the Kansas City Chiefs are leading the Houston Texans in the second quarter. So we'll try to keep you updated on that. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to give you every single, every single game. We're going to go ahead and give you who we think is going to win. And as I try to get this set up so that you guys can see it a little bit better, and I think that's going to probably be the best way right there. So without further ado, let's talk about this Thursday night game. This game, Kansas City was minus 9.5 points. For those of you that aren't sure what minus 9.5 points means, very, very simple. Minus 9.5 points means that the Texans are given. They start out leading by 9.5 points. So in order for Kansas City to win this, if you are a betting person, Kansas City would have to win by 10. In this game, you got Mahomes, you got Kansas City returning 20 of 22 players. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You got all these guys on this team. And I really don't think Houston is as good. Houston starts off very slow every year. I think this team last year was either 1-3 or 0-3 to start out the season before they made their run. And I think they're going to start out slow again. So I said, even though KC is favored by 9.5 points, I think they'll cover and they'll win this game. And I did predict that. You got to remember, Houston also lost DeAndre Hopkins last year. So I picked KC. And we have a computer that will keep tally of our records. So next Thursday when we come on to do the week 2 picks, we'll know how we fared versus the points. The second one on your list, and I can just go down here right in order since you got all the games, is Philadelphia versus Washington, where Washington is given 6 points. I took Philadelphia in that game. Philadelphia will definitely cover the 6 points. I know Ron Rivera is there, a new coach. I know Alshon Jeffrey and John Rigor is out for Philadelphia, but Washington is not a very good team, and I think Washington will lose. Miami versus New England. I picked New England in this game. For those of you fans that I'm looking at that game, Miami and New England, I don't think that New England is going to be as bad as everybody says this year. I honestly believe that New England is going to be a very competitive team. They did not get Tom Brady back, but they did get a good quarterback who, if is healthy, who has gotten his arm strength back, who's gotten his leg injury better. He can be a very productive quarterback. And that defense is a little slippery right now, but it's still a good defense. And remember something about Miami. Miami always plays tough versus New England, but I'm going to take New England to cover the 6.5 points. Then you got Indianapolis versus Jacksonville. Phillip Rivers, I'm not sold. This is a terrible Jacksonville team. Yes, they're trying to put some young guys in there. I'm not sold on Minshew Mania. I think they need so much more, especially on the defense. I wouldn't be surprised if Indy just tears them apart. Indy is favored by 7.5 points in this game. Indy will win that game. Then you got Chicago versus Detroit. And, we talk about terrible teams. There's another terrible team, the Chicago Bears. I wouldn't be surprised. I was very surprised to see Travinsky being the starter. I really thought Nick Foles might start in this game, and I don't think it's going to be long before you see Nick Foles start for the Chicago Bears. But Detroit is favored by 3 points. That should be an easy win for Detroit. Then we go to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, first time as the Las Vegas Raiders playing Carolina. I think the Raiders could be one of the surprise teams this year in the AFC, and I think they'll beat Carolina, so I'm taking them. Jets versus Buffalo, minus 6.5 points for the Buffalo Bills. we talk about terrible teams. I have told people this before. I'm sorry, Jet fans. I grew up a Jet fan. I lived there the first 13 years of my life. Like I said, I was a Jets fan, but I'm not sold on Sam Darnold. I am one of those people who do not believe that Sam Darnold is an elite quarterback or will be an elite quarterback in the NFL. I would love to see him prove me wrong, but this New York Jets team is not a very good team. They just aren't. Yeah, they got Rashad Perryman now. They got a couple players in the draft. They don't know what's going on with Le'Veon Bell. So I know they got P. Ryan from Florida, but I see Buffalo covering the 6.5 points. That's a tough Buffalo defense. So we'll see how that goes on. But I took Buffalo in that game. Seattle versus Atlanta. Atlanta is plus 1.5 in that game. So Seattle is favored by 1.5. I think Atlanta is better. Atlanta was tough at the end of the year. They won their last 6 games last year, but I think Seattle will win that game. They got Jamal Adams now on defense, so I really think that. We go to Los Angeles Chargers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are underdogs in that game, obviously, by 3.5. The Chargers with Tyrod Taylor. This is a game that scares me for Cincinnati. And let me tell you, Bengal fans, why. I am not a big fan of Joey Burrow starting game 1. And I'm not saying that if it was a regular season where he had all the necessary camps, all the learning experience, some preseason behind him, some reps behind him, I would be, and maybe you can convince me that Joey Burrows will start it. But you're basically taking this guy and throwing him to the wolves and saying, go out there. And I am just so scared that he's going to get his head knocked off by these Los Angeles Chargers. And it's really scaring me. So, I obviously think the Chargers are going to cover the 3.5 points and win this game. But it's very, very scary if you're Joey Burrows. Then you got Arizona versus San Francisco. San Francisco is favored by 7 points. One of the things about Arizona is they're so inconsistent with Kyle Murray. They're just an inconsistent team. A lot of people are saying, what's going to happen with San Francisco? They lost their running backs. They went ahead, and do they have this Super Bowl hangover? And, it's a good question. I mean, they did add DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals did, to go along with Larry Fitzgerald. So they do have an offense that is capable of scoring some points, but, they just got to be consistent. This could be another one of those teams that surprise some people if they can just get that consistency this year. And then everybody wants to know, and they're dying to hear it before I go to the Monday night games, Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. This is a young defense in New Orleans. They are missing some players, on this team, obviously. They're missing Von Bell and Eli Apple on defense. But when you look at this offense by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all we can do right now is look at it on paper until they start playing the game. But it is one of the most potent, one of the most incredible offenses that has ever been assembled. It is incredible. I mean, when you start ranking some of these receivers with some of the best that have ever played the game, they're right up there. I mean, Godwin, Evans. Let's not forget Scotty Miller. Let's not forget Justin Watson. That's depth, baby. Look at the running back position. LaShawn Shady McCoy, Leonard Fournette, and Ronald Jones. My goodness, the triplets, they're unbelievable, these 3 guys. I mean, then if you look at the tight end, it gets better and better and better. You got Gronkowski, you got Howard, you got Brate, and so on. This team has the ability to score whenever they want to score with Tom Brady at the helm. We talked about the offensive line. I think people will calm down about that after the first couple of games and relax a little bit. But, there's only one way that this team loses a lot of games, and that's if they beat themselves. If they just go out and execute good, fundamental, penalty-free football, the sky is the limit. This could be one of the best teams ever assembled, especially on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, yes, the ranking from last year, which doesn't mean crap, was based earlier on in the season. The last 6 games, this defense did come on. They have the attack the ball at all costs mentality, and you're going to see a lot more of this. This Antoine Winfield Jr. kid is going to be unbelievable. To go with Devin White, who is one of my favorite, with the exception maybe of Levante David, who is the most underrated Tampa Bay, probably not just Tampa Bay, but underrated football player in the entire NFL. This guy is in on every play, makes things happen, and just constantly keeps leading the defense. And it's great to see not only Levante David become a captain this year again, but how about Devin White? 2nd year and already team captain. Just unbelievable. But to answer that question, in this game, Tampa Bay is actually underdogs, and that's because New Orleans is at home. And New Orleans is favored by 3.5 points. I think this game, I honestly think the Buccaneers are going to win this game. The question is by how much. There's going to be so many different things that we're not used to happening as fans. We get a lead early. Wow. We get a lead early? We're not used to that. And how we play the game and how we balance the offense and how we take it from a passing offense when we start getting this nice lead into a running, manage the clock type game, it's going to be just a thing of artistry to watch. And that's a Larryism again. I use a lot of Larryisms, okay? But this is going to be an unbelievable game. And it's with due diligence, it is right to be on at 425. I picked the Buccaneers to win this game versus the New Orleans Saints in Tom Brady's first game. Then we got one more game that I didn't cover, Dallas versus the Rams. The Rams are actually underdogs in this game. Dallas is favored by 2.5. I took Dallas in this game. The Rams lost Gurley. They did add Jalen Ramsey, but they also lost Cook. So offensively, they could struggle a little bit. One thing about the Dallas Cowboys is this is a team that found a lot of ways last year to lose games. They went in every game. They just, at the end, found ways. This was a much better team than a 9-7 or an 8-18 last year. So, then you got the 2 Monday night games, Pittsburgh versus the Giants. Pittsburgh's favored by 4.5. They will beat the Giants, no questions about that. Then the late game will be Tennessee versus Denver. And I'll tell you what, here's another team that, did very well last year and, has the ability to be really good again this year. Those Tennessee Titans with Tannehill, Henry, some of these young, great receivers they have on that team. So I am taking Tennessee, who is actually they are underdogs versus Denver. Denver is favored by 1.5 points. And remember, Denver lost Von Miller this week. Big loss on the defensive side. So that's my picks for week 1. So hopefully, if, any of you have any questions on that, go ahead and leave me a message. What we're going to do next here, folks, and I'm setting it up right now, is we are going to pick each division. We are going to pick who we think is going to win each division now. I made you a promise before the show ended that we were going to go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick, we're going to start with the AFC East. I'm going to give you each of my division winners for the year. I'm not going to go through the playoffs and do wild card and all that, but I will give you my 2 Super Bowl teams as well. So why don't we go ahead and start with the AFC East? We'll start in the AFC. And real simple, when you look at the AFC East, everybody's thinking, okay, Brady's gone, Brady's done, this team is done. It's time for somebody to take over that division. And everybody's leaning towards the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills with that young, unbelievable, very feisty defense. I'm not a believer in the Buffalo Bills. I actually think the Buffalo Bills just had one of those years, and I don't think they're anything better than an 8-18. As far as the AFC East goes, I believe, and I still believe, the best team in that division by far is the New England Patriots, and the New England Patriots will win the AFC East. The Jets aren't there. The Dolphins could be a surprise team. They have the ability to win 8 games this year, and you never know what else. But when it comes to the AFC East, my pick is the New England Patriots. So we'll move over to the AFC North. The Ravens had a great year. Lamar Jackson, just an unbelievable talent. But one of the things that people forget, I don't see Cleveland challenging. I think Cleveland was a one-year wonder that wasn't a wonder. And this year, you got to remember something. You had a team last year in Pittsburgh that did not make the playoffs, that came so damn close to making the playoffs without Ben Roethlisberger playing, without a quarterback. The rest of their quarterbacks were terrible, whether it was Dobbs, whether it was Rudolph, whoever it was, they were just terrible. This year, they got a healthy Ben Roethlisberger. And my pick to win the AFC North is definitely going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers could win 13 games this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So as we move on to the South, you look at the South, which had been one of the tougher divisions in prior years when you have Jacksonville and Indianapolis and Houston and Tennessee. I think this year it's not even going to be close. AFC South goes to the Tennessee Titans. Will win that division. Then, of course, you got the AFC West. And, guys, we can talk about how much better the Raiders are getting, how the Chargers are doing, the Denver Broncos. But at the end of the day, the Kansas City Chiefs have 20 of 22 players returning. They're signing everybody to these long-term contracts. I don't know when the next time this team will lose is. I mean, this is going to be a good football team for many years to come. So, obviously, in the AFC West, I believe that will be the Chiefs. Now, if I had to pick 2 guesses, I said I wasn't going to do wild cards, so we'll leave wild cards out of it as we move over to the NFC East. And, last year it came down, I believe, to one of the last games of the season before the NFC was decided, the East. And, the Philadelphia Eagles played their way into that division. But I'm going to tell you something. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. I have never seen a team like the Dallas Cowboys that have so much offensive potential, find so many different ways to lose football games last year. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys did. And I don't know how, or I can't see them doing that again. This team got better during the offseason. I know they lost their starting center, but they'll be fine. But offensively, a lot of this is going to be about egos. How are all these egos going to get? Yes, they got Amari Cooper. They got a Zeke Elliott. They got Dak Prescott. But you saw what happened when things didn't go well last year. It didn't all click together, and these guys are going to have to learn to calm down and trust each other. And once again, we talked about fundamental football with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The same thing is going to have to go in Dallas, but I think the best team in that division by far is the Dallas Cowboys, and they will win the NFC East. It will probably come down between them and Philadelphia again. And with Philadelphia, once again, it's going to be how healthy can Wentz stay. So then we go to the NFC North, and what a great division. You got the Minnesota Vikings there and the Green Bay Packers. The Bears in Detroit, who knows? I mean, the Bears are just a terrible team. They're going to probably switch quarterbacks not too far into the season. But, at the end of the day, when you look at this team, I still say that, the best quarterback in that league is probably Aaron Rodgers, and also the best team in that division is probably the Green Bay Packers. So I picked the Packers in a close race with the Minnesota Vikings to go ahead and win that division. Now, the NFC South, everybody's talking about it. The big division game this Sunday, the Saints and the Buccaneers on prime time. We'll be watching it at Dave & Buster's, baby. Join us for the watch party. Lots of fun, lots of games, lots of prizes, lots of raffles, lots of people. Oh, my goodness, what a great time we're going to have, as you can see on the screen below. So make sure to join us at Dave & Buster's. So as we watch this game, this is going to be the battle all year. It's going to come down, the Atlanta Falcons, I like to see how they do this year. Dirk Cutter's back there as the offensive coordinator, his second year. They played very well the last half of 2019. So, they're another team to just watch out for as they continue to get better. Carolina is still young. They still need more work. But this is going to be an unbelievable division race between the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But, when I put it all together, I have to go the NFC South with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is all done. This isn't me saying I'm a Tampa Bay fan or I'm not a Tampa Bay fan. Remember, I grew up a Jets fan. Okay, you don't see me picking the Jets in the AFC East, do you? This is just an unbelievable team. And if this defense, this young, aggressive defense that Tampa Bay is building, everybody talks about the powerhouse on the offensive side of the football, but this defense is exciting. And, I think you're going to see a lot more turnovers created by this Tampa Bay defense. And they're going to be a fun team to watch this year in Tampa Bay. Then you go to the NFC West. 49ers, was it just a one-year wonder with Garoppolo and all these players out there, or is this team for real? I don't think it's a bad team, but I don't think they're a good enough team to take it from the Seattle Seahawks. That's my pick in the West. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I had to pick a couple of surprise teams, not saying would make the playoffs, but to watch out for them, three of them that stick out is the Atlanta Falcons, the Miami Dolphins, and something's telling me, I don't think they're close yet, but something's telling me watch out for those New York Giants. Shaquan Barkley with Jones as the quarterback. They got a couple of good receivers. You never know. There's always those couple teams. There's always at least 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs the previous year that end up making it this year. But I believe the Buccaneers will be one of those. So people are going to say, okay, crazy man, who are you picking to win the Super Bowl? Well, you break this down in the Super Bowl. And yes, the Super Bowl is going to be held in Tampa Bay this year, as far as we know, based on everything we're hearing. It's still planned to happen in Tampa Bay. For those of you, before I get to our prediction on the Super Bowl, I do want to let you know that Kansas City in the beginning of the third quarter, is leading Houston 17-7. Clyde Edwards, I think he has like 10 rushes for 64 yards. in the game. Sammy Watkins has 6 receptions, 63 yards for the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is, nothing special in this game. I told you I thought they would win this game, and they are now driving again as they are bringing the ball down to the 43-yard line. So it'll be 2nd and 3 from the 43 with about 13 minutes left in that game. But as far as my Super Bowl picks, and once again, I do a lot of work when I decide this, and I look at everything, and, the NFC, I don't know if people will be surprised, but when you look at the 2 teams that I think have the best chances of going to the Super Bowl, these are my 2 teams. Super Bowl, Pittsburgh versus Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the first team to ever play in their home stadium. Now, understand it's a long season, okay? But I think Pittsburgh can easily win that. I really think they are an all-purpose team. I know a lot of people are saying what's with James Conner out there. Who knows what will happen? But, if Big Ben is healthy, I think Pittsburgh will be the big surprise in the AFC, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. If you want to leave me a couple of comments real quickly as we're about to wrap it up, every Thursday night now, we will do a preview. We will pick our games. I have all those games we picked already on a program with the points involved. So we will know our record by the end of Monday night on Tuesday. Thursday, next Thursday, what we'll do is we'll pick week 2 games, and we'll go ahead on Thursday nights from now on and preview the Buccaneers game and all the other games as well, but versus Carolina. So we'll try to get somebody, either a former Carolina Panther player or a staff writer like we did tonight with John Hendrix. And we want to thank John Hendrix very, very, very much for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate it. A lot of these reporters are real busy with the season coming up. So we do want to go ahead and thank them very, very much. Let me go ahead and get this off of our screen here. All right. All right, there we go. So, those are our picks. I hope everybody enjoyed. I do want to personally, thank you all for going ahead and, all right, let me remove that. Joining us today. We will not have another show till Monday night. Obviously, on Monday night, how many touchdowns do you see Brady throwing Sunday? JT wants to know, my good buddy Bucka, how many touchdowns am I predicting Tom Brady to throw this Sunday? And I am predicting Tom Brady to throw 4 touchdown passes this Sunday. And I think 2 of them may be to O.J. Howard. Now, Michael and Clayton and I had this little thing going on. So all my fans, we're going to give Michael Clayton a lot of crap if O.J. Howard has a great game because, we can only judge one game at a time. But I told him I think O.J.'s going to have a bust-out season. So if O.J. does get 2 touchdowns, either while we're all spending a great, great Sunday at Dave & Buster's, enjoying all the company we're around, I think a bunch of us will call into the post-game show to Michael Clayton and say, okay, Michael, and every game from then on, we'll call Michael and we'll just give him some fun crap about O.J. Howard. But I honestly think that, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I heard, just scored. I told you guys this, if you go all the way back to my the show we did, the podcast, when we were podcasting at that time, I told you the steal of the draft I thought was at number 32 by the Kansas City Chiefs. Why nobody took this guy before, I do not know. The great running back, I believe, out of LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or Clyde Helaire Edwards, however you want to name him, but just a great, great athlete. And, it's good to see this. And I'll tell you why it's good to see it. When you can see a young guy come into a game like this, a running back who has not played yet in the NFL, and it's a lot faster game, it gives you a lot of hope for the young guys on our team when they play this Sunday. Now, they do say, and I don't play in the NFL, but they do say one of the easiest positions to adapt to is the running back position when you go from college to pros, because you're looking for holes and you have your linemen blocking for you. But still, an unbelievable effort by Edwards Hilaire tonight. Just great, and I'm real happy to see him do well. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, like I just said, we will be at a watch party this Sunday. The game starts at 4:25. If you go into the watch party, let's use our noodle a little bit, and let's not wait till 4:25 to get there, because you probably won't get in. We are expecting anywhere in the vicinity of up to 150 people at this event. A bunch of Buccaneer super fans, Superman Blakey, Big Nasty. I know all of Crew Life is going to be there. Myself, the great legendary coach Marvin Bell, Buck Dad is going to be there. I mean, all the people that do these shows are going to make an appearance at this event. So, it's going to be a great day, lots of fun. We're going to celebrate the win together. I couldn't think of a better way to do it. So just an unbelievable weekend. Then we will be back Monday night. I'm not going to announce. I'm waiting on purpose to find out. We are trying to, now as the season goes on, we're going to try to get people situationally on our shows that has a relation to what's going on in the sports world. We may go ahead and have, we may ask Dan Harajon, the Lightning Insider, or Eric Erlinson, so we can talk about the Lightning, or so on and so on. We'll keep it up, something about the Rays, because the Rays are doing well. But Wednesday night, it's Buck night on Crew Life. You go ahead, you come on. We will have a Buccaneer edition of Frankly Speaking Sports. On Monday night after my show, Buck Dad will be on. I believe he's going to continue to do his fantasy football hour right after Frankly Speaking Sports concludes on Monday night. So lots and lots of football for you on Crew Life. Stay tuned for us. We're looking forward to it. Everybody have a great weekend. Go Lightning. Go